What's up guys, Brad here, and today I want to give you my top 5 cards that should be unnerfed and put into the Hall of Fame. So Blizzard likes to nerf cards that are obviously played to an extensive amount. Usually either it's something like Undertaker was like having some crazy 70% win rate back in the day. I think that card did need a nerf. It was insane. Actually, if you are watching it right now, you have like 1 day left to play Tavern Brawl that showcases it, and it's Firebat's deck, and it's insane to see it back in the Time Machine. And this is one of the reasons why I'm actually making this video, because going back, seeing some of these cards, it makes me realize that some of them actually could come back, and it wouldn't be too insane. They were nerfed at the time because of how strong they were. And now it's crazy because we have some combos like the Rosakas Priest that could do something like 32 damage in 1 turn, I believe. So anyways, let's just talk about it, and we'll jump in number 5. So at number 5, we actually have a card that I don't have anymore because I disenchanted it because it's so useless, and I wanted to get all the dust value that I could, and it's Force of Nature. So Force of Nature was nerfed because it usually it was 6 mana at the time, and it summoned 3 2/2 treants that had charge, and at the end of the turn they would die. So what it was mainly used for is like a combo of Savage Roar, Force of Nature at 9 mana, and it would do 14 damage. So when it would do 14 damage, you usually would go face and that would kill you. So a lot of times if you're playing against a Druid, you'd either want to Lotheb and then play Lotheb on turn 9 and try to prevent them from actually killing you if you were at around the 14 health mark. So but then on top of that, in this I could see why, and this is the reason why this is at number 5. It's because Force of Nature had the problem of Innervate with it. So if you had Force of Nature, Savage Roar, and Innervate on turn 10, you could do 22 damage in 1 turn. So that is a little bit crazy, but realistically, still, as I said, nowadays there's combos that could do like 30 damage in 1 turn. So I don't really know why, if that's the reason why they kind of want to get rid of it. On top of it also, I know that everybody played Force of Nature, Savage Roar. It was basically, you had 4 cards automatically put into your deck as a Druid, just like Keeper of the Grove. Everybody played Keeper of the Grove and Druid, so there was something ridiculous. Like, you couldn't really create a lot of unique Druid decks because there were so many powerful classic cards everybody played. And I guess this is why, as I said, I chose Force of Nature being the number 5 spot, but still it would have been nice if you could still maybe mess around with it in Wild and you have it in the Hall of Fame. So that's why it's number 5. We'll go into number 4. Let's jump into with Starving Buzzard. Now Starving Buzzard, while yes, this card at the time was insane, I do think it would have been nice to have the card be somewhat playable rather than complete shit. Now it's 5 mana 3/2. At the time, way back when, it was a 2 mana 2/1 card, and then they decided, okay, we'll make it a 3 mana 3/2 instead. It might have even been 3 mana 2/2 still, or something like that. I'm not 100% sure, but then they decided to make it from the Unleash Starving Buzzard combo was just too much, so they decided to get rid of it and then move it to 5 mana. I think though that nowadays Hunters always struggled with card draw, and this is a card that could actually help them if they made it at least balanced, is what I would say. Maybe make it like a 3 mana 1/1 or something stupid where like the card's practically useless except for the card draw, and then you are able to still play the Unleash the Hounds combo with it and get some cards drawn from it. Nowadays it's not as, I would say, aggressive as back in the day. Yes, there's still a lot of aggressive decks, but it's not like the boards all the time are wide. I mean, Warlock at the Undertaker, this is talking about Undertaker era here. Everybody was playing Undertaker Warlock and Undertaker Zoo kind of style decks, and so the boards were quite wide with the Haunted Creepers, spawning extra 2/1/1 guys and the Nerubian Eggs. But I feel like if you just made this guy maybe like a 3 mana 1/1 or something, and then you just threw him into the Hall of Fame, it would be played, but it wouldn't be played too much. And plus, it's wild. Things are supposed to be broken in wild. That's the point of wild. You're supposed to have fun, mess around with cards that aren't really, you know, that aren't seen play anymore. Like Dr. Boom isn't even played anymore. That was like one of the most played cards and overpowered cards. People thought it was going to get nerfed back in GVG, and it never did. But Dr. Boom isn't even played anymore because it's really not that good nowadays standards. So I think that's the same thing with Starving Buzzard here. So who knows? Maybe with this brawl, something. I think they're experimenting something with it because I don't know why they would put the time and effort into a brawl like this. And I think it's gonna have such good reception that they're actually gonna maybe do something with it. I hope they do. I hope they make like a legacy mode where you can kind of go back in time, choose an era, and play the cards back then. Such as maybe you can go back to like 2014. You could choose like a year's 2014 era, and you could play with all the cards that were pre-nerf before then, 2015, 2016. Obviously, that's a lot of work, but who knows? It would just be something cool. Anyways, enough with that rant. Let's go back into this. So number 3 is actually going to be Innervate here. So Innervate was just recently nerfed. I do believe that Innervate needed the nerf, but rather than nerfing it, I think it would have been a little bit nicer to actually see it just go into the Hall of Fame, so that in Standard it wouldn't be played, but then in Wild you could still play some of those crazy fun big Druid decks. Innervate's still played a little bit nowadays, but it's not nearly the same. It's basically the counterfeit coin for Rogue now, and I just don't feel like it's the same. I feel like the combination between Innervate and the Force of Nature were, you know, now that they've nerfed both of the cards, it's like I feel like they could bring one of them back. Obviously not Innervate, because Innervate was still a problem, so it's like maybe they could bring Force of Nature back and bring it to so you could have that, you know, Savage Roar combo still. And if you wanted to get that 22 burst damage from hand, you'd have to have all the cards in your hand. You wouldn't just need one Innervate. You need to have 2 Innervates, 2 Savage Roars, and a Force of Nature in your hand. So something to think about. I did like the Innervate old school style of decks, where you'd play like, you know, just all large minions and you'd Innervate out something crazy. I remember one of my favorite memories of the game way back when, and this is, you know, probably before even Naxxramas. I was just putting in a lot of legendary cards, and for Druid I was trying to cheat out a lot of the cards, and I was using Innervate and Wild Growth, and I got Innervate into Hogger. So I really liked it. I had Coin, Innervate, and Hogger. I believe that was what my hand was, and it just snowballed, and I felt like I was having so much fun for some reason, even though Hogger is horrible. But it was a lot of fun. So I think there's something still to be there for Innervate for us that are just kind of having fun. Now, I want to get these last 2 cards, I would say, are one of the biggest nerfs that I think that could still be around in Wild. While some of these, they're a little rougher because, as I said, Starving Buzzard does need a little love before I think it could be put back into the meta of Wild and not be completely broken as it was. And I think that Force of Nature and Innervate, one of them probably would have to still stay nerfed while the other one could live. But these cards I think could come back into Wild and it would be okay. So first up, we're going to look at number 2 spot here. It is going to be, I can't find the rogue stuff here. It's going to be Blade Flurry. So if you played the Tavern Brawl, as I said, you'll find Blade Flurry was 2 mana, and you destroyed your weapon, and you dealt its damage to all enemies. So rather than just dealing the damage to only the minions, you would deal it to the hero also. Now, the problem with this was that it was an immense burst damage, and nowadays I could see why it's, you know, so powerful because of Kingsbane. It would be kind of broken with Kingsbane, but in Wild I think that you could, rather than making it the way it is right now, you can make it still deal damage, because Oil Rogue isn't nearly as good as what it was because Blade Flurry's you know, nerf kind of went away. But if you were able to maybe make it like, I don't understand why they couldn't make it 4 mana and destroy your weapon and deals damage to all enemies, rather than, you know, why did they have to make it to only the minions rather than also the face? Like, up the cost, okay, that's fine. I don't understand. You made it cost 2 more, and then you took away the damage to the face, so it's only a board clear. It's like a horrible board clear, realistically, compared to, you know, other cards that are out there. Yes, there is a deck out there, I believe, that is playing like one of these, and it's, I guess, decent, but I wish it would just still be kind of like the same. I miss the old Miracle Oiler Rogues and Wild. I wish that was something I could still play, and obviously I'm trying to play a lot of it in the Tavern Brawl because that's the way I can kind of get my nostalgia fix, which is why I hope they do something with this Tavern Brawl in the future to make it like its own separate game mode of like nostalgia for us. Now we'll go into our number 1 card, which is kind of sad to see that it's never played anymore. We'll actually grab the nice golden version of him. Warsong Commander. Now, Warsong Commander had actually a lot of nerfs to it. So it was a 3 mana 2/2 at first, and it was 2 weeks, so they made it 3 mana 2/3. And it originally read, you give all your minions charge. And then that was too powerful because there was the Giants combo, where what you would do is you'd play like Molten. This was back when Molten Giant wasn't nerfed either, and you would Molten Giant, hit him in the face, and then you would Youthful Brewmaster it, Molten Giant, hit him in the face, Youthful Brewmaster, and so on, so on. So then they decided, well, we'll take it and we'll make it a 3. It give minions charge with 3 or less attack. So then this created the Grim Patron Warrior that we all know. The Grim Patron Warrior was a lot of fun, and the thing about it was, yes, it was very powerful and you could burst people down, but it was an extremely hard deck to actually like pilot. You had a lot of math to do. You had to be able to clear off boards, killing like your own patrons off, being able to summon even more patrons, and you know, continuously hitting face, doing crazy combos in order to, one, gain a lot of armor, drawing your deck with the battle rage, and you know, using your whirlwinds and whatnot. So I just think that, yes, while Patron Warrior still lives very, very low life in Wild, it's probably one of the worst, like, I believe, like, I think it's actually one of the worst like decks out there, because of cards like Duskbreaker now and whatnot. So I think because of that, you can probably bring back Warsong Commander and it wouldn't be too bad. And in Standard, I mean, I don't even know what it would do. I don't know if it would actually be good or not. But if it's only for Wild and they only nerf this because of Patron Warrior, it should be brought back and just put it in the Hall of Fame or something if you're that worried about it in Standard. And then let us have fun to actually mess around with Patron Warrior and go back to the old days. So anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed the list. Let me know what you think about these cards. If you think they should be unnerfed, put into the Hall of Fame so we can actually have a little fun just like the old days. So thanks for watching, guys, and have a great one.